Hi everyone, it's Sandra from Sandra Bianca Photography, and today I'm going to be showing you how I do a full retouch edit using the new Greater Than Gatsby Portrait Retouch Collection. So we're going to go ahead and get started on my beautiful friend Kingston here. And the very first thing I want you to check is because I'm going to be using the Flawless Skin Blend, just beyond your background colors here, you're going to see a little icon. I want you just to double click on that, and that's your quick mask option. And I want you to go ahead and make sure it's selected to selected areas. And then go ahead and change your opacity to about 30% or so. And I will explain that a little bit further as I go along. And I'm just going to double click that to get it off. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and run Flawless Skin Blend. And I'm going to grab my lasso tool. And I'm just going to go ahead and start making selections around her face because I just want to blend in all of her tones. So from here, after I make my selection with my lasso tool, I'm going to hit Q. I'm going to go up to Filter, Blur, and Gaussian Blur. I'm going to set my pixels just so it feathers out just a little bit. And I'm going to hit OK. Then I'm going to hit Q again, Filter, Gaussian Blur. So you can see that it's just blending in all of those tones a little bit better. And I'm going to go ahead and do it on her forehead as well. Q, Filter, Gaussian Blur, Q, Filter, Gaussian Blur. And now I'm going to go ahead and go into Flawless Clone. I'm just going to keep my opacity at about 100% and my flow at 25%. And this is where I go in and I'm just going to go ahead and make a selection. So I'm holding down my Option key and I just want to get a nice clean skin tone underneath her eye. And then I'm just going to go ahead and start painting to blend in these tones a little bit. And I just do this around the face just to go ahead and blend out the tones a little bit further. And we can go ahead and get rid of this little piece of hair. And then I'll go on this side a bit. Just going to go ahead and start blending her tones out. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. You can see there if I click on and off. I'm going to also go down on her arm here, and I'll go ahead and remove this little piece of hair. Then I'm also going to go ahead and go back into the Flawless Blend and just go ahead and run this on her arm as well. So I'm just going to go back and grab my lasso tool. And I'm just going to go ahead and make a selection. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit Q, Filter. I'm going to go ahead and expand my feathering a little bit more on this. So you can see there, just like soften that edge. And Q, Filter, Gaussian Blur again. So you can see there. So that's just really softening up her skin and blending the tones. Okay, so once we're done that, I'm going to go ahead and flatten this. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab my spot healing tool really quick, just because I see this little speck in her hair. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do, here's your skin correctors. If you need those, I usually use those towards the end. The next thing I'm going to do is just go into the skin softening and details. And I'm just going to go ahead and choose Natural Beauty Smoother for her. And I'm going to go ahead and just take my opacity down a little bit and just start smoothing out her details just a little bit. This is a really good one because it still leaves texture on the skin. So it doesn't give it like that super, super, super soft look. And I'll go ahead and run this on her arm as well. Okay. So if I click on and off, let me pull that up a little bit more. So you can see I just smoothed it out just a tiny little bit, just to give her a little bit overall, a little bit more softness. So I'm going to go ahead and flatten this, and then we're going to go down into our skin tone palette. And I'm just going to use something a little bit more neutral for skin tone. So just remember, everybody's skin tone is going to be different. And I'm just going to go ahead and run a couple of these on just so you can see what they do. So this is Clove, which actually looks really pretty and natural on her. So I may take this up a little bit more. And this is also going to brighten up the skin just a tiny bit as well. And remember, I shoot in RAW, so my images are flat and this is backlit as well. So there was like no light in front of me. I mean, there was because you see catch light, but not like shining light to bring out her natural skin tone. So I just want to go ahead and just brighten it up a little bit. And we're just going to go ahead and stick with this skin tone here. So I don't want to go over her eyeballs because I don't want to change that tone of her skin. And I'm just going to go around. And I know I just went over her eyeball, so we're just going to go ahead and mask that off. Sometimes it's actually easier just to mask it off at the end and just go over like the entire face. Okay. So you can see there what that did. So it's just enhancing her natural skin tone a little bit. And you can also reduce your opacity if you feel like you just went a little bit overboard or if it's getting too bright or whatever. So I like that one a lot. We're going to go ahead and stick with that. I'm going to go ahead and flatten this, and I'm going to go into the Rosy Cheeks palette. And on this, I just like to kind of just pick something similar that's already on her cheek. So I'm just going to go and select Fever because that looks like it's a pretty good match. And I'm just going to go ahead and paint this on a little bit. And you can see that's just enhancing her natural cheek color. And she had her makeup done for this shoot. So she did have obviously makeup on. You can see with her cool eyeliner there. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead, and that looks good. I like it a little bit stronger on this image only because she is made up a little bit. And then I'm gonna go ahead and flatten that. And then we can go into our soft glow brushes here, which are awesome. They're gonna give it a little bit more like saturation. I'm gonna go ahead and choose Lively and see what this does. I might run a few just to see what they do. And that's really pretty. It's just bringing out some color. And you can see it's like even pinking up her dress a little bit or giving it a little bit more saturation, I should say. And I do like this one a lot. So we're going to go ahead and leave that on. And I'm just going to go ahead and take my opacity down a little bit. Okay. And then we're going to go down into the all over eye foundation. And I'm just going to get my brush small enough to paint on the inside of her eyes. And we're just going to go ahead and brighten those up. And it sharpens them a little bit as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my opacity down because I don't like my eye whites to be so stark white. So we're just going to go ahead and take that down a bit. And that looks a little bit more natural. And then I'm going to go ahead and go in to define the eyes. And again, I'm going to keep my brush at 100%. And this time I'm going to go over the lashes, the eyeball, and everything. So that's just sharpening up her lashes and her eyes. And then we're going to go down into the Luscious Lips palette. And again, you're going to have a ton of different colors in here. I'm going to go ahead and stick with something that looks a little bit more natural, which she already has on her lips. So I'm going to go ahead and select Angel. And I also like to paint this on at 100% just so I can see where I'm going with it. And then I'll step it back. And that looks a little bit too deep, so I'm just going to go ahead and reduce my opacity a little bit. That looks pretty. Okay, we're going to go ahead and flatten that, and then I'm going to go into Highlight Shine. And this is just going to go ahead, I'm going to change my opacity to about 50%. And this we can just enhance the natural highlight that's already on her lip. And I'll take that down a little bit more. Okay. You have your hair enhancers here as well. I'm going to skip over those on her right now, and I'm going to show you something else that's going to bring out the definition of her hair a little bit later. In all the things, you have your extra fill flash, shadows, paint me pretty. We're going to go ahead and run that. And I'm going to go ahead and bring my brush back up to 100%. And I'm going to go ahead and paint this all over her, including her clothing as well. And you can even paint this on the background of your image if you wish. You could see it's going to just enhance those colors that are already there. So we can just go ahead and paint a little bit on. I just want to show you the full effects of all of this. So okay, that looks really pretty. See what that did there. And then we're going to go into Sharpen the Everything. This is just going to run an all over sharpener on her. And we're going to go ahead and reduce that opacity a bit. So give it a little added sharpener. And then I'm going to go ahead and go down to our Magic Contour brushes, which are amazing. So I'm just going to go ahead and use Magic Contour Medium. And these brushes are going to be really good, especially if you don't love to dodge and burn, to bring out some of the details. This basically does it for you. So you can see it's bringing out the highlights and deepening up the shadows. And all you need to do is brush this on. So it's perfect. And I'll just go over her hands a bit. So see how it's just contouring her and really bringing out the shadows and giving her a little bit more definition. I'm going to go ahead and take that down just a little bit. That looks good. Maybe a little bit more. And if you feel like you don't need it on everything, you could easily just switch back to your black brush. And like maybe over here, it's getting a little bit too shadowy for me. So I might just take a little bit off that edge. And the rest looks really good. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and go into Picture Perfect Polish, which I pretty much have been running on every single image. And this is just an overall enhancer. So you can see there, it's just going to bring your image to life, basically. And I can go ahead and take that down just a little bit. And I'm really loving this edit. So now we're going to go into my favorite part, which are the fine art brushes. And these are all just amazing. So if you like that really sculpted look and to really bring out the details, I'm going to try to run a couple of these for you really quick, and you can see what they do. So I'm going to run Glamorous. And you can see like that's just giving it that really super cool fine art finish on the entire image. You can see all the details in her hair. And I love this one on her. I'm going to take it down a little bit. It's a little bit too strong for my personal liking, but you can see how strong you can go. And that one looks really pretty at 50%. I'm probably going to go ahead and leave it there. But I do want to show you a couple other ones just so you can see. We're going to go into Sculpted. And you can see that one's giving her a detail and a little bit more warmth, which I like as well. Let's go into Exquisite. And that one's just giving it a nice, pretty, softer feel. And then I'll play one more Ravishing, and you can, play all of these when you get this set. And that one's just giving it a nice overall pretty clean, a little bit more subtle look. So I'm going to go back into Glamorous because I really like this one on her. And I'm just going to take my opacity down to about 50%. And that is it. So let me take a little snapshot of this. And I'll show you the before and after. So this is the before, and this is the after. Again, before and after. Thanks for watching, guys. Please visit www.greaterthangatsby.com. And again, this is in the new Portrait Retouch collection. Thanks again. Bye.